Hi, and welcome back to Seasoumi. This is a space where we have honest conversations about growth, personal journeys, and the experiences that shape who we become over time. Today's conversation is part of a spring shared reflection, a moment where we pause to reflect on growth, new beginnings, and the journeys that lead us to new seasons of life. Today, I'm sitting down with a very good friend of mine who also happens to share the same name as me to reflect on his journey so far, the experiences that have shaped him, and some of the lessons he has learned along the way. In this conversation, we'll be focusing particularly on a spring moment, that period of growth, transition, and new opportunities. And with that, I implore you to get comfortable and let's get right into it. Hi, and welcome to Seasoumi. It's nice to have you here. It's really amazing to have your friends support you in this kind of way. So, I'd like you to introduce yourself. I've known him for the past 5 years. Is a very good friend of mine. I'd like him to introduce himself to the audience. Can you introduce yourself, please?
5 very beautiful years, I would
Very
say.
beautiful years,
So,
indeed.
hi everyone. Hi Taya.
Hi, Tayo.
My name is Taya.
Yeah, my
Lucky
name is
to
Tayo too.
lucky to share a name with you.
Of course.
Yes, I am Nigerian. I'm a friend of Taya and Yomi's. We've been friends for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
as you said. I also live here in the Netherlands. I've been here for that long as well. I'm a lawyer. Am I allowed to say that on
Of
camera?
course you are.
I'm a
Of
lawyer.
course you are.
Yes, I enjoy playing tennis. I love reading. I love traveling a
Oh,
lot. I'm on
nice.
the road
I
a lot.
definitely know
Yes.
that.
What else?
What else?
Uh,
I don't know.
I am partly vegetarian. I eat lots of, I eat lots of salads, I would say,
Of
but I
course.
also enjoy the occasional Nigerian meal.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe one of these days we introduce you, we invite you for one of our cooking sessions.
I will miss
But we are going to
anything
make
like that.
just meat. All right.
Yeah, I think I'll indulge.
Of
But it's a
course.
pleasure to finally join you
Of course. Thank you
on
very
this
much.
episode of Susumi. Been looking forward to it for a while. I'm glad we're
We're
bringing it
here.
to life.
Indeed, indeed. And thank you very much for joining me on Seasoumi. So let's get right into it. I often describe life in seasons. So for me, winter represents survival, rebuilding, and quiet growth.
Mhm.
Spring represents new beginnings, opportunity, and uncertainty, while summer represents visibility, momentum, and harvest. And then autumn represents reflection, transition, and letting go. But when you look at your journey so far, what season do you feel you are in and why?
If I were to be pragmatic, I would say that it's a mix of everything.
Of course.
But I think right now I relate more with spring.
With spring.
Yes.
Why?
New beginnings, opportunities, uncertainty. New beginnings in the sense that I'm getting into, I would say, new relationships, meeting new people, starting something new. Things that I'm very optimistic about, actually, hoping that they head somewhere or it goes somewhere.
Are we soft launching relationships now?
I'll provide more info on that later. But yes, on the other hand, I would say opportunities as well. There are new things that are opening up, not only in my personal life, but also career wise. And I am actively pursuing those. Building stuff with friends, I'm advising, mentoring early career professionals that are looking to break into my industry. So, yes, uh, uncertainty as well, for the immediate future, not just right now, but the immediate future. There are certain decisions that I have to make this year. I am deliberating on them, praying about it, seeking counsel from people that have gone ahead of me as well. So yeah, spring looks like a very relatable
It's a
season for me
relatable
right now.
moment.
Yeah.
Of course, of course. If someone met you today, they'll probably
Mm.
see growth and stability. I mean, I see growth and stability. But what would they not immediately see about your journey?
You know what they say about ships when they sail? You see the actual thing, but you don't know what is underneath.
Of course.
The engine and the so many things. Um, I wouldn't say that I've had the smoothest journey, growing up, getting to where I am. And this is even in my beyond just career, in my personal life as well. It's been I would say, topsy-turvy journey, struggles a bit. But I've had to I would say I've, to a very large extent, I've successfully navigated those. I've had to put in a lot of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to also leverage relationships, build and leverage relationships. And of course, there's a God factor to which we can never neglect.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, a lot of investment, personal investment, financial investment I've gone into what you see today.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it still feels like I'm nowhere near where I
It
should
should
be,
be.
but I'm also quite content and happy
Mm-hmm.
about my my current place.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
There's a lot
a
there.
lot has happened.
Like we
A
say, where
lot
we are
has
come
happened.
from, like what is behind six or
It
what is behind seven is more than
is more
six.
than six. A
Indeed.
lot has happened. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. So growing up, what did success mean to you? Because I think success is very
Mhm.
progressive.
I would say that my perception of success has evolved over the years. When I was young, for me, being successful was to at a point in my life was going to the university for
Mm.
one, and that happened. At some point, that became getting a very nice job at a very nice law firm. That also happened. At some point, it became traveling abroad and doing maybe an LLM abroad. That happened. So I would say that with every milestone, every the different phases of life I've had different definitions of success. Right now, it will still be to be very successful, but very successful career wise, but also not just when it comes to what I do for a living. I also measure success by how much I'm able to impact other people, by the richness of my relationships. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to, I mean, I can boast of a very rich communities around me, people like yourself and Yami, So uh, growing up, it used to maybe mean just having a nice job, a nice life somewhere. But now it's a bit, I would
It's a bit
say,
bigger than that,
yeah,
and
it's
it's
a
a
bit
bit bigger than
nuanced.
you
It's
too.
bigger and more nuanced.
Of course, of course. So, thinking about it, like, of course, you mentioned that you've always had different definitions of success. But have you ever imagined, like, when you were a kid, like, have you ever imagined this version of your life?
The answer
Or
to
did you
that
ever
is
imagine this version of your
I
life?
did. I did, I would say. Maybe not when I was a kid. So I was very lucky to read a lot growing up. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had a I had like a window into how the world, looks broadly, even though I was in my little corner back home in Nigeria. And I always wanted that. In fact, there's a video of me that someone to maybe 10 years ago where I was saying, you know what, I'm going to go abroad. I'm going to be an internationally qualified lawyer and I'm going to
Hmm.
work somewhere, maybe in New
Do
York or
you
in
have that
London.
video? Do you
I
still have
still
it?
do it somewhere on my phone somewhere.
Okay.
So yes, I would say I imagined this. I kind of dreamt this into life,
Mm-hmm.
but again, that dream, that vision has kind of it's evolved too. The more I accomplish some of these things, the more I realize that there's so much more that can still be done. So this
Mm-hmm.
is like a stepping stone, really. It feels good. I mean, I'm comfortable to some extent,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, I did think about having what I have right now. I've
Mm-hmm.
always imagined it,
Mm-hmm.
but right now I still feel like there's so much more to be done. Not just for myself, but also for family, for friends, for people that look up to me, for people that depend on me, because I
Mm-hmm.
have dependents.
Of course. Of
I've got
course. Don't we
dependents,
all?
so yeah.
Of course. Now, of course, we've spoken about when you were a kid, when you were a child, and
Mhm.
thinking about success in these terms, and the shifting goalposts of success, like I will call them, with the way
Mhm,
you
mhm.
described it. But looking from where you were then, how did you get to this point? Like, what was the journey to this
Mm.
point?
If the truth is, I want to get into that, we probably won't leave this place in
I
three
know.
in 3 days.
I know. I have a bit of insight into it, so you can just give a bit of an
Yeah.
insight into that journey.
Yeah, so of course everything started back home in Nigeria. I was born in Lagos, grew up in Lagos, went to primary, secondary school in Lagos. Um, but for some reason I ended up in Ekiti State. This is something, it's a part of my life that very few
Of
people know.
course. Yes.
And it was quite different spending some part of secondary school life in Ekiti. It was so different from what I grew up knowing. And that journey, that bit of my journey, as different as it was, it played a very big role in what I eventually became or what I am today. I learned so much. I saw the world in a different way. But then when I graduated from secondary school and moved back to Lagos, I was also lucky to meet people that were doing very well back then, people that inspired me, people that showed me what kind of opportunities like out there. And yes, I followed my path in that sense because I've always wanted to study abroad. So when some of my peers were applying to schools and applying to LLM programs in Unilag, Ibadan, and whatnot, I mean, it felt very good, but I also wanted international exposure. So I applied to a school in Belgium. Bit of a backstory on that. Prior to that, I was lucky to get into a very nice law firm, Mr. Vera Saleras. God bless you, wherever you are. She gave me an opportunity right after law school. Said, "Hey, I did an internship at the law firm when I left uni, and she always told me, you know what, if you want to come back, you have a place." So law school, went back. Nice law firm with an international flavor. And a few years into that, into my stay at the law firm, I got the opportunity to travel abroad to follow up on a client, one of the cases that I was working on. I was very lucky too that I was thrown into the deep end from day one. So there was no, I didn't do an internship or traineeship in that law firm. I was leading cases from day one, so it really helped. I went to Europe on a holiday slash, work trip. Went to a few countries. When I got back, it's like, you know what?
I'm out. I'm out.
I'm out. And proud to them, I'd always been conflicted. The destination for Nigerian lawyers are, what we call the big three: US, the UK, and Canada, because you can easily requalify as a lawyer. So Europe was not on my radar at all. But when I went on that journey, I stayed 6 weeks. When I came back, 3 days later, I was applying to
Oh
schools
wow.
in the EU. And then I got admission, got a scholarship as well, went to Brussels, and yeah, I saw things that because it was a scholarship that covered tuition. I still have to take care of myself. It was self-funded in that sense, and it was quite different. So I did that. It was nice, and then I graduated and started looking for a job. And that was where the real shake started. As I say, that was a journey or a waiting stage that also taught me a lot. Because at that point, I thought I reached lows that, for one, I didn't think that I would still experience. I saw things, I had to do things that I never thought I would do. The so-called student jobs. I did that for a while, met so many interesting people on that journey. But eventually, I was able to learn something. How that happened, I mean, you guys know the story. You're
Of
connected to
course.
that
It's another
story in
story.
one way or
Yes.
the other. But you know how that ended. And from there, things became a bit better.
Better.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, of course. And I see that you're definitely like on an onward trajectory. So when
Amen.
life, amen and amen.
Amen.
So when life started improving for you, was there
Mhm.
a specific moment that you realized that you were no longer just surviving? Because clearly, when you got to Belgium,
Mhm.
you started your studies. I wouldn't say that was a survival. I mean, it was a bit of a survival period because you still had to
Mhm.
make money for yourself
Yeah, yeah,
to put
absolutely.
yourself through school. I
Yeah.
can imagine what that does to you. You have to study, you have to do student job on
Mhm.
the side and everything.
Yeah.
But at what point did you realize, okay, things are getting better? I'm not just surviving.
Mm. So, little bit of a backstory to that, right? When I left school, I didn't quickly get a job, and that phase, it was a very difficult one. There's a point where I completely left Belgium. I traveled to the UK to go see my sister, and I spent a couple of months on a couch just formulating, making applications because I was so done mentally. Um, there was a point in that period where all that I had to my name, home and abroad, was maybe €4 or
Oh
€5.
wow.
Yes. Yeah, and I was quite lucky to have that support in my sister as well, and also had a community of friends in Belgium back then that we were all in the same demographic. We're all fresh graduates looking for opportunities, and we were not exactly sure where help was coming from, in the sense that the terrain was very difficult for graduate students back then. And look at a country like Belgium where the national language is French. There are three national languages: French, Dutch, and German, and we didn't speak any of them. So we were competing with locally trained lawyers that were polyglots, that didn't need sponsorship.
Hmm.
So the odds for us were very low,
Hmm.
and we felt it. We felt it very
Of
much.
course.
But I was also lucky that I I didn't let that get to me. Maybe that was also driven by ignorance. If I knew then what I know now,
Hmm.
I would have maybe I think I would be less audacious
Hmm.
because I would have been overwhelmed by the odds. But I was still inspired, and I still felt like that Nigerian mentality that you
Can do.
yeah, you know, I did things. I would say that I did things that for one I didn't think I'd be able to do
Hmm.
because I knew what was chasing me. I applied myself in ways that, in hindsight, even myself, I'm shook. I think it wasn't, but I'm still shook.
Oh wow.
You know, eventually things started opening up. I got an opportunity at a law firm. That was where it felt like the story started shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got an offer from EY in Amsterdam, and I moved over to
the Netherlands, of
when
course.
that first EY salary touched my account. I mean, in hindsight, it wasn't even a lot if you think about it.
Consider where you're coming
In
from.
hindsight, it wasn't a lot. Like, I mean, if you compare it to now, it was.
My man is loaded.
But
yes.
when I got that first pay, it was like, oh, okay, things have
things have changed.
This
is not student job money. This is adult money.
Yeah.
Oh.
So nice. Yes, I would say my very first sponsored opportunity as an expatriate professional in the Netherlands would be where I felt like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I've arrived.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm happy for you. Yeah. So as opportunities started opening up, did growth feel natural or unfamiliar at first?
Not exactly, no. Because so the corporate culture in a place like the Netherlands is very different from where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a negative way, but this is different. Things are a bit more relaxed, less confrontational, right? And that was something that it took some getting used to. In my first role also, it wasn't natural to me. It was predominantly an IT role. It was a privacy role, but it was heavy on security. So I had to learn that from scratch. Mm. And I had colleagues that were versed. I had computer engineers, computer programmers, and whatnot. So they knew this thing better than I did, right? And I felt, of course, that kind of impacted on what I thought of myself professionally too. That wait, people are learning things so quickly. What is happening with me? Mm. And in that sense, it took a while to eventually snap out of it to say, hey, you have to first and foremost understand or admit to yourself that you don't know anything. So maybe start from scratch. That humility to tell yourself that, hey, you have to just assume that you don't know anything and learn things from scratch. So I would say yes, that experience was very instrumental to how I even approach things today. Being unassuming when it comes to new things, being humble enough to even learn from those that are versed at things or they're younger than you are. So yes, humility, being less confrontational, these are things that I would say took some getting used to, but I've had to unlearn and relearn.
Of course.
And they're helping.
Of course.
They're really helping, I would say.
Yeah, those are things that come with growth, right? So, of course, I mean, it would get to a point where you're not just learning and unlearning. Mm-hmm. At some point, you get a bit more comfortable. So, and you begin to achieve, right? You begin to thrive. So, as you began achieving more, did your confidence grow immediately or did doubt also grow alongside it? And I'm asking this question because sometimes I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm growing, but what if I fall? Like those thoughts start coming. Like you can be on cruise mode at work. And all of a sudden, that thought just pops out of nowhere. That doubt, that tiny little doubt, and it just comes out and like, yeah.
Yeah, yes. The simple answer to that is yes. Yes, it is yes. For a couple of reasons. So, I currently do something that I practice in an area where from where we stand, there are very few Black professionals. It's quite niche. I mean, people do privacy, people do infosec, people do AI governance and whatnot, but I combine everything. It's not niche knowledge, right? And in that sense, sometimes you feel very valuable. You feel like, hey, you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But then again, when you get into many of our corporate spaces and you deal with certain, it could be office politics, it could be how someone addresses you sometimes, it shakes you,
Mm-hmm.
it rattles you. Confidence is like a muscle that you train, right? It doesn't, it's very rare to say that you're born with confidence. So agree, I would say it's something that I've had to work on because if you're someone in my demographic, you know, young black professional doing something that you would rarely find people of your demographic in, it's very easy to feel like all eyes are on you. And when you feel like you're under the spotlight, if you're not careful, you make mistakes. Your confidence is impacted, right? So it's something I've had to grow, but it's gradual. It's been gradual. I mean, I've been in the corporate space in the Netherlands for what, it will be 5 years, going on 5 years now, and yeah, I know how I started, and I know where I am right now. So it's been incremental. It's come with lots of twists and turns. Um, I've had moments where that confidence was rattled, but yes, it's great.
Of course.
It's still great. It's
But
still
then
great.
again, there's also the space for
Yeah.
doubt, right? Because I mean, you can have confidence growing, like you feel like you're on cruise mode, everything is going well, but
Yeah.
out of, somewhere in one corner of your mind, it just comes like, what if this is not real? Do
Exactly.
you have
I mean,
that?
genuinely right. And this is something that I think we've had in some of our conversations that sometimes the things that we have, it's not exactly because of how brilliant or how proficient. A lot of things have to align for you. You may be the most qualified in the room, but if there's no one speaking for you in the room when you're not there, you're not getting the job. If you're, let's say, you're competing with 4 or 5 people that have, the same qualifications, you need to have that extra. If that extra is not there, you can have 15 other attributes. If one thing is missing, you're not getting that job. And for expatriates, it's even highly skilled migrants, as they're called. Yeah. It's even I would say it's a more precarious situation in the sense that to lose your job, you almost have to leave. Like you have to leave almost immediately, right? So that apprehension sometimes even impact on the quality of your work. Worrying that, hey, something happens to me, I have to be gone. And we've had this happen to people.
Of course,
We see people that this thing has happened to. So doubt not only in what you do, but doubt on your stability within. I mean, again, we're lucky that so far
So far, so good.
so far so good.
Indeed.
But yeah, there are moments where based on what you do, based on some of the things that you see, that occasional doubt creeps in.
But how do you then deal with these doubts?
I just, I try to get better at
You
what I
shove
do
it
every
down.
day. I shove it down for one. And again, I think you can't overstate the importance of community. People that are on the same journey, people that can relate to what you do. Because sometimes when you're feeling a bit down, you have that conversation, you get gingered. Again, so connecting with people, plugging into that community that you've either built or contributed to, I think it helps a lot. Well, it helps me a lot.
I agree with you.
Because some of these things, you can't resolve them. You can read all the self-help books in the world, but
It's true.
you can't handle them by yourself. You need to talk to people that can
Indeed.
understand
Indeed.
and give you the right kind of advice.
No, you're very correct because I do remember like my own period where I'll have things things in the office where I'm just feeling really down. I'm just feeling really like, do I really fit into this space? And I speak to some of my colleagues and the way they ginger me, it's like I can go to the office the next day and ask the CEO for his job.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
indeed, there's a space for community. Thank you very much for that. So, of course, I can imagine that your confidence is at least at an all-time high now. Like if you compare to where you're coming from and right now, your confidence is at an all-time high. But do you still step into rooms or opportunities right now and question whether you truly belong there?
I mean, question isn't what I would use, but wonder might better describe it.
Okay.
Yeah, wonder might better describe it because again, in the industry that I play, especially where I am, there are not a lot of black professionals handling. It's legal/compliance, which is mostly reserved for local practitioners, right? So I find myself in rooms like that a lot. It happens every day. It has to happen, otherwise, yeah. When these things happen, you get the occasional doubts when, for example, you're called on the spot to advise. Right?
Oh wow.
You feel the occasional doubts, but what I've learned and what I apply is that the biggest driver, the biggest impetus that you can have for these things is competence. Just know what you're talking about, especially if you work in a very niche area where lives depend on you. So
Of
it's the life of the
course.
organization, depends on you in that sense. Just when people ask questions, you're not clueless. You're on top of issues. You can stand and deliver. Right? And that's something that I try to get good at every day. I try to improve myself on, personal development, just being in the front of things, not just hiding, leading. So yes, uh, I would say those are some of the things that I use to deal with any kind of doubt when I find myself in rooms like that.
Of course. So, in essence, I'd like to also ask this question, especially for people who are coming in, because this question, the previous question I asked you was, where you are now. Of course, you've developed a lot of competence, so of course you are there right now. But at the beginning of your career, this was not it. You didn't have as much competence, especially in that space that you said you were. You said you had to do a lot of security work, not night guard security. I know,
Hopefully not.
privacy and security. Of course, you had to do some
Yeah.
privacy and security work, and you were heavier on the privacy with your competence than with the security part. Now, of course, you were given the job, and of course, you have to try to do it. But somewhere inside you, like, okay, I mean, this is not what you're probably not even really as much like as interested in security as probably you are now.
Yeah.
Did you ever have imposter syndrome?
Oh yes, I did. I did. And I think I've said this joke a few times that when I started doing information security as a lawyer, and then I was on the team that I was working with at the time was arguably maybe the best team globally that could
Oh,
do what they do. It was a certification team, so we were going to audit organizations to see if they were setting up their management systems properly, which means that you must know more than the organization. You need to be better than the experts in the organization. So it was a different level of exposure. And these are people that were serving the biggest names in industry, like Fang, basically. Now, I was working with colleagues that had very technical backgrounds. The knowledge came naturally to them. They could speak the language, or they could speak technical controls, like in their sleep. But for me, it was my first. I mean, I'd
it
read.
was your first
It was
rodeo.
my first rodeo, and I said at some point when I started this initially, it wasn't that I didn't understand things. I didn't understand what I didn't understand. It was a second layer of confusion for me.
Oh my
Like, okay,
gosh.
wait, I know this thing. This is okay. Let's say, for example, encryption. I mean, lawyer. I don't know I know what encryption is, but I don't know what it is in
Surface,
practice.
right? Yes.
But so for some of the really core stuff, I wouldn't even understand what encryption was. So it was a very different layer of confusion for me, and I struggled. I'm not gonna lie. But I was lucky that I had managers and I had colleagues that were quite patient. They kind of knew. They were very understanding. Hey, oh, don't worry. Oh, you're a lawyer. You get it. You get it. And it took some time. I would have to spend double the time to understand what was required, even though my colleagues were snapping it up in minutes or hours. But eventually, it was at a frenetic pace. The things were moving very quickly, so you had to learn very quickly. And in hindsight, grateful for that knowledge because I've been able to leverage that experience in what I do subsequently, or what I've done subsequently, and maybe looking into the future. So yes, imposter syndrome initially, but it drove my growth. It was very uncomfortable, but it drove my growth. It drove my confidence, and now I have a portfolio, an assortment of skills that I ordinarily wouldn't have had if I didn't step out of my comfort zone, which is legal and privacy.
Indeed. So, what mindset or habit or even environment did you have to outgrow to remain where you are now? And were there any survival habits that no longer served you?
Yeah, I would say the habits I've had to outgrow again would be defensiveness. Sometimes when people give you feedback, especially from the professional perspective, when people give you feedback, you take it personally. It could be a cultural thing from where I'm coming from. I don't want to say that, but I mean, yeah, I've had to see feedback in a very different light, irrespective of the language, really. Um, yeah, be less confrontational, be a little more soft spoken when I talk to people because contextually here, when you talk sometimes and you raise your voice, maybe out of habit, it looks like you're fighting with them.
Mm-hmm.
So those things, it's not an indictment of where I'm coming from. It's just context.
Difference, yes.
So I've had to
Cultures.
relearn these things to be able to, I wouldn't say conform per se, but to be able to
Adapt.
have better adapt, yes.
Yes.
To be able to have better interactions, like optimize your interactions, optimize your career, basically. Um, Survival habits, I would say, would be hiding myself.
Mm.
You know, sometimes you don't want to take on stuff because you don't want to take on work because you're afraid that you get criticized or you get judged. So you're shooting yourself in the foot, right? The best way to make yourself, especially here, to make your name, to make a name for yourself, is to actually do stuff, do the hard stuff. Like, I'm be visible about it. So don't just, do something and let someone else take credit. As much as you can, learning that part of, or learning to optimize that part of your career is almost as important as your technical skills, really. So do the work, take on task, do it, and be visible about it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, be humble, but learn how to blow your own trumpet.
Absolutely.
Don't let someone else blow it for
Absolutely.
you. Indeed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when something good happens in your life today, what's your first internal reaction? Do you have gratitude? Do you feel pressure? Do you feel fear of losing it? Motivation? What does your inner voice sound like? I need to hear it.
So that is something that I'm still struggling with.
Okay.
Really, because I feel like I move on very quickly from things.
From successes,
Yeah.
from wins.
But also on the flip side, also from losses too.
Okay.
Yeah, so it goes both ways.
Okay.
But yeah, I internalize, I'm grateful. I do appreciate it, but maybe I don't think I savor it as much as I do. Right? And it could still be one of the survival habits that you talked about, right? But I'm working on it. I'm working on it because I'm trying to play the long game, really. Everything that I want to happen overnight. I know that. Well, I know that now. I didn't know that a few
Before,
years ago,
yes.
right? I know that now. I'm trying to play the long game, try to enjoy, take things one at a time, and try to enjoy immediate successes too. But yeah, the truth is, I'm going to admit to you, Tayo, that I think I need to save up my wins a bit more.
You do need to
than I
savor your
currently do,
wins.
yes.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Okay, so thank you very much, Tayo. And my last question to you. You've gone through your story. It's been very interesting. But looking back now, I know you had a winter period. What did winter prepare you for, and how do you stay grounded now that things are better?
So it was a period of coldness. And I don't mean this literally too. I mean this like mentally, psychologically. It was a period of aloneness. It was a period of just isolation. And even though it left a bitter taste in my mouth, I would also say that it prepared me for where I am and where I'm going to. So I learned humility because it felt like at some point I was like this, and then I had to go like this. And then, it's been,
You went back up again.
right?
Yes.
So I learned humility. I learned how quickly you can lose things. And therefore, I'm not attached to any material thing. I feel like I can lose anything and move past it, like, right away. I don't have any attachment to physical things, right? So humility, empathy, those are things that I can, when I see people going through stuff, right, and I've gone through, it's easy to empathize with them. It's easy to relate to them because I've been there. It's easy to empathize with them. Yeah, I would say those are things
So
that,
two major things that
Yeah.
you've imbibed. Oh,
but also optimism as well.
Oh, yeah.
For the future, right?
Of course.
That it doesn't matter how bad it can get. They say that a moving man will move his luck. Will meet his luck eventually, rather. So just keep moving, keep doing your thing, keep striving. Things will click eventually. Maybe not the way you expect, but things will. Yeah.
What did you call it? What did you say the word again? A moving man would always meet his luck. Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. I'm going to put that one in the archive somewhere. All right. So, what would you say to someone entering their own spring at this time and they're feeling uncertain? What would you like to, if you were to give them a piece of advice, what would that be?
I would say that patience. Patience is a virtue, really. You need to first understand the season that you're in. know that things are the way they are because they should be that way. As long as you're doing, you know that you're applying yourself, right? You have something in mind. You have things that you've maybe planned for yourself, but they're not clicking yet. But they will eventually because life really is in phases. Life is in stages. As long as you're doing it, maybe you're not even doing the things that you want to do or you should be doing as well as you should, but put less pressure on yourself mentally because the pressure itself will kill you
I know.
more than whatever it is, the stress or whatever things are not working for you will. So recognize the season that you're in, understand patience, appreciate patience as a virtue, and be optimistic really for the future because
Yeah.
it's life. It's like that turn by turn.
Turn
as they
by
say.
turn, no, turn by
What is
turn.
your morning? What is our morning or afternoon here?
It's somebody's
It's
night,
somebody's
yeah.
night or somebody's,
Or some,
so
yes, indeed.
that's how I
And
see life. Really.
indeed.
And if you, based on that too, I think it would make you less envious of others as well. It would make you less jealous. Those emotions are valid, by the way. It's what you make of them. That is the most important thing. But yes, recognize your season, be patient with yourself, and be optimistic.
Yes, indeed. And community,
Community,
very important.
indispensable.
Very, very indispensable.
Community of like minds. That one is very important because you cannot have, in this life you can't afford to listen to everyone. You can listen to everyone, but you can't afford to comply with everyone. And also for people that you shouldn't be listening to, don't spend too much time on them.
Indeed, I agree with you.
I don't think-
100%.
Let me confess to you, I don't think I would be where I am today if not for community.
Indeed.
It's key. I
Very
would
key.
always advise it.
Very,
If
very
you
key.
don't have one, create one.
Go and find one.
Create one.
If you don't have one, go and create one. Thank you very, very much, Tayo, for this conversation. It's been an amazing few minutes with you. And I hope
it's my pleasure, really. I've been looking forward to this for a while, and I hope that we'll have many more of this sessions.
Guys, one more person in my bag. But thank you very much, Tayo, for this event. There's a lot to learn from this, and I do think that what you've shared here today is going to help someone out there. So you are achieving one more of your goal, not just for yourself, not just to help yourself, but to help others. So
my pleasure.
I'm happy to facilitate that for you.
My pleasure. Really.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye. Thank you very much, Tayo, for that very interesting conversation about spring. There were a few things that stayed with me from that conversation, and the first is patience with yourself. Spring is not about rushing growth. It's about allowing yourself time to become. Seeds don't bloom overnight, and neither do we. The second is competence. You might walk into spaces where you don't know the people yet, or you know your work, you know what you bring to the table. And sometimes that quiet confidence is what carries you through new seasons. And the third is community. Try to find one, try to build one. Try to stay in spaces that inspire you and challenge you. Spaces that remind you of who you're becoming. Because the truth is, spring moments need watering. They need people. They need environment and experiences that help you grow. And maybe that's the question to sit with after this conversation. What is watering you right now? Thank you very much for sharing this moment with us on Seasoumi. And stay close, because in our next conversation, we'll be exploring the idea of a spring meal and what it means to finally sit down and taste the growth you've been nurturing. Until then, sit with your season. Bye.